Hello, everybody. Welcome to the D-Pad. Welcome to the Patreon Hangout. Oop. There we go. Sorry about that. I had the actual post on Patreon open, which had the video also running, so that should get rid of the echo. Ooh. That's interesting. Oh, there it is. Wow, there's a huge delay on the chat in stream. That's weird. That's very strange. Well, let's start with a quick little one of these. I mean, there's always been a delay, but that one in particular felt like it was very long. I don't know why. Trying to get my energy back up before we have a camping EDM type thing we're doing this weekend here at the house, but my energy has been very sapped. There's been so much going on, and today is the first time in about 2 weeks that I've been home all day, and with the exception of, so there was 2 weeks ago that week I was around. Prior to that, it was another like 2-3 weeks since the last time I was home for a whole day. So it's been a really intense summer so far. But the good news is, it is all, I have to turn the AC on. It is all calming down. I'm just going to do this. It might be audible in the background, hopefully not too audible, but it's too damn warm in here. There's oh no, it's a hair on the microphone. There we go. But yeah. Oh, hello. You can go on through. It's all good. But yeah, this one's going to be a little bit different from the usual ones. Usually, I mean, it'll be at least partly the same. We're going to hang, we'll chat and all that, but we don't have a lot to talk about as far as what has been happening on the channel in the last month, because it's been very dry thanks to all of the travel and taking some time off from streaming, and generally being kind of focused elsewhere for a hot second, which a bunch of that is going to come back now that I'm actually back, which is nice. I have some stuff already recorded and ready to go for Monday. I've got more stuff that I'm working on for the week after already, so we should be able to dive back into things pretty quickly. But I'd be lying if I said the energy was not at like 10% of where it normally is. Oh my God, what was I going to say? But we will have stuff to talk about as far as like what's coming up, which is nice. And I guess in terms of just the rambling stream of consciousness, this will be similar to other hangouts, though this one's being done more openly and publicly than our usual ones, just because I figured it'd be nice to get other people in on this one, especially because stuff has been so funky since mid-June. It'd be good for other folks to be able to hear the explanation up front as opposed to waiting for the VOD. Anyone's got questions, I'll be able to answer them. And also, like, I don't know, because it's such an unusual case for this one, just kind of felt right to do it that way. God, where to even start? The Grand Champion video, I'm still working on. I was hoping to have it up today, and then stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened today. I won't get into details on it, but a good chunk of today was spent focusing on other stuff or outside of the house. And so there's still stuff I have to record. I have been editing stuff, but I have a chunk that still needs to be recorded, and then the rest needs to be edited. I might be able to get it up tomorrow. We'll see. I don't want to spend like my whole day in the middle of this, camping thing we're doing, trying to do that. So like, I don't know if it'll definitely be up tomorrow. Sunday, I feel very confident it'll be up by then. So, I'll push to try to get that taken care of. Uh, but speaking of, I really gotta like actually put like gel or styling cream in. Like, so my hair has been doing this thing, which I'm sure has been visible on a lot of different streams, where the very end of it there will kind of do that, and then it kind of does this weird thing. I don't really know what to do with that. I'm also trying to fix it mirrored in the stream. I don't know. When it grows out a little bit more, I can do some more stuff with it. But yeah, as for the tournament, so the first round is now half done. The first 4 heats of the first round are all good at this point. They're fully closed, even though the video talking up the results and the current standings isn't up yet for after Heat 4, but the votes for those are closed. The votes for the 5th Heat are technically open, though the video is going up ASAP, and there's going to be an extra week on there. I'm taking a week from Heat 6 and giving it to Heat 5 because these last couple trips have taken so much out of me and have been so difficult to do stuff during that it doesn't make sense for it to be that short. For starters, for what it's worth, I am now back in Massachusetts and staying here for the next 2 months. I have no current plans to be going anywhere for any extended period of time until... I mean, so extended isn't it? Like there's a week in November where I might be gone for 3 or 4 days. And there's a chunk of October where I might be gone for like 2 days, maybe 3. But generally speaking, I'm going to be like I don't have any like full week-long things that I'm doing until the holidays, maybe. So things can finally kind of cool down, get back to normal. I can start getting some sleep again. Holy cow, I've gotten so little sleep over the last month and a half. I'm sure it, like, my eyes are just, look at those bags. You can see my skull. Like, you can see the contours of my eye sockets right now. That's not a good sign. Not for, like, horrible reasons, generally. There were some rough spots at points, but mostly for good reasons. I may as well just kind of walk down the line and chat up like how this whole last month and a half has really gone down. 'Cause like if I pull up my notes about like videos and things, there's not really a ton to talk about there as far as stuff that's aired, other than Spyro, which we'll talk about. But yeah, we in late June. I'm trying to remember the exact date for that. Actually, if I just pull up my calendar on Windows, I should be able to figure it out. Yeah, so I had a work trip that left on June 21st that took me to Prague for work offsite. So I work for a company that's based out of Europe. So their like offsite meetings and retreats and stuff are all in Europe generally. I don't think they've done any outside of Europe. I know that last year, the same offsite, which I did right as I started the job, was in Amsterdam. And apparently the year before that was in Rome. But this time was in Prague. Hello, Nick Panda. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. So there were 2 work trips. There was a product team offsite to Prague in the Czech Republic. And then originally, so this trip, the important days were Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the days they set aside for people to travel were Monday to travel in, Friday to travel out. But folks like myself who were traveling from very far away also had Sunday to travel. So Sunday afternoon, I guess, I headed to the airport to do my like overnight flight so that I could arrive Monday morning and then get my ass to the hotel and crash for most of the day before things actually started on Tuesday. And the original intent was that folks fly out on Friday, except that we had a hackathon that we were hosting with other companies the following week, and that was going to be on Monday and Tuesday of the following week, which would have been the 29th and the 30th. So rather than the genuine psychological torture of flying 8 hours home on the 26th and then leaving on the afternoon/night of the 27th, one day later, to do another 8-hour flight, so I could arrive sometime during the day that Sunday in anticipation of the Monday. They were just like, hey, this is a rare occurrence. This doesn't really happen often, but you can stay in Europe and we will cover the hotels and you don't have to worry about that. And I was like, oh, thank God. The original plan was that we would fly from Prague to Amsterdam, which is the location of the hackathon, on the Friday. And then we would spend Saturday and Sunday in Amsterdam. And then Monday and Tuesday would be the actual event. And then Wednesday, we fly back home. I had asked ahead of time, like, hey, can I actually have my flight be on Saturday? Because it'd be really cool if I could have Friday as a buffer day to check out Prague, because I've never been. And then I can fly on Saturday, which wouldn't take long. It's like an hour and a half, I think, flight, or 2 hours maybe, very short. And then settle in, and then on Sunday I would have a free day in Amsterdam, and I could kind of walk around and see that, because last time I was in Amsterdam I didn't really get to explore it much. I would love to see more of both cities, which they said yes to. They were fine with that. It took a little doing. There was some weird stuff to get that situated, but it was all sorted out. But there were two problems. The first one being, well, the really the more important one being that for anyone who's not in Europe watching this right now, the end of June was one of the worst heat waves that Europe has ever seen. And in some cases, for some countries, I think England, France, and Germany all had the hottest day that they've ever recorded during that 2-week period. So I arrived in Prague on an 80-degree day, which like isn't terrible. It's warm, but it's not like unbearable. A little bit humid, not too crazy though. The real problem is, and this problem is maybe not the right word. It was a situational problem with me, but so Europe really doesn't do air conditioning, like almost at all. Even in the hotels, the air conditioning is fairly limited. In Prague, the AC seemed to like only sort of work. And in Amsterdam, in the rooms, you don't have direct control over that. They give you kind of a, like, they set up the hotel. They say, here's how we're setting it. And you can go 1.5 degrees Celsius above or below that. Mwah. Sarah's here. Oh no! With getting that set up, it looks fantastic.
Yeah. But no, seriously, it's hard to pull things on when you only have one hand that you can really put pressure with.
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that there was some stuff going on today that happened, and I didn't get into the details. Do you mind if I share?
Go for it.
So Sarah, the other mics aren't hot for what it's worth. It's just this one, but it's not. They won't hear you. So Sarah was moving stuff around because we've got our camping thing we're doing this weekend, and we have a set of like stakes essentially. So we have. Yeah, we have a boulder, really. When you pull up on our driveway, there's you turn to like there's a little bit of driveway to the right, but if you turn to the left, you get to the garage and there's like parking space that's there. Sometimes we have trucks come up, whether it's a delivery truck or we have like an oil delivery truck for our like oil tank. And just to make sure that they have eyes on this boulder, because we have one boulder that's like just to the side of the parking space, we got a couple stakes, and
They were when we moved in.
what's that?
They were there.
Or were they? I thought we got those. Okay, so they were already there.
What they were made of.
That's fair. So they're I think they're orange stakes, but they have like a white reflective.
They're like common anytime, these are used in the winter all over the place.
Yeah, used a lot. They're high vis, like reflective stakes, and so Sarah had like every now and then, they'll fall over. You need to like kind of put them back into the dirt. Sarah grabbed one that was down and she went to go like stick it back in, and apparently just happened to stake like directly on top of a rock. So the part that she was holding just kind of like burst.
No, it just slid back through my hand.
Yeah.
So it was like.
Yeah. So it slid, but so like the reflective material.
The whole thing.
Yeah, like the whole thing is essentially fiberglass. So she got a shitload of fiberglass like dust, essentially little tiny micro shards in like her entire right hand. Mostly the fingers, a little bit on the palm, a little bit on the left hand, but it's not been great. We spent maybe like an hour trying to figure out a couple quick solutions between tweezers and running water and tape, Elmer's glue, all sorts of stuff. Some of it worked. Some of it did seem to do at least a little bit. Yeah. I think the glue might have been the most effective one that we had, but either way, there was a point where it's like, okay, we need to figure out a better solution because this isn't working. And Nick Panda says, I hope she's okay. She's doing better. Yeah, hand is rough. Doing better than this morning, but still not doing amazing.
The problem is the answer is you just wait a few days.
Yeah, the real answer, because like, I mean, I've gotten little bits of glass shard in me before, and yeah, if you can't quite get it out, then it's you wait a day or two. Some of it will just push itself out. Some of it will just be kind of more pushed out, and then you can tweeze them out a lot easier. And but we then were like, all right, let's try urgent care because maybe they'll have an answer. Sarah called ahead of time to double check, like, hey, do you actually have anything you can do about this? And they said, sure, yes, we can set you up at 2:40 p.m. And this place is almost half an hour away. So we left around 2:15, drove there. They held on to Sarah for like almost an hour. We're not able to do basically anything. And then said, you could try the ER, ? But we don't know if that'll help either. Good luck. And then we drove home. And then there was various like setting up of camp stuff. So today's been weird. Today's been rough. Sarah's not happy. I can help you with that.
Nope. You're busy.
I can help you with that. I can use a hand and help you with that. I'm just watching you actively wince while you're doing it.
Yep.
I can help.
You say these things and yet. All the way over there.
Yeah. Okay.
I needed help with these earlier.
Yeah, I could have helped you with that too. Yeah. So it's been a weird one. Today's been strange. I think we're both a little wiped out, but pulling through. Trying is true. But so as far as Europe goes, I got there on an 80-degree day on Monday morning, and the airport is unair conditioned in Prague for what it's worth. So that shit was real warm and musty. Just rinse under cold water, use tape, do that infinity times. Yeah. That's kind of where we're at, is variously like water, tape, tweezers, and just worst part is the pinky. She's got like a pad of it that all like dug in on her fingerprint area of her pinky, and that's kind of where it's like at its worst right now. But yeah, so 80 degrees, no air conditioning, and every single day got hotter until finally there was a scavenger hunt that we had as part of the offsite. It was optional, and I'm glad I didn't, because on that day it was 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And then by the time I left, the day that I left Prague, it was 99 degrees. At some moments, it did just barely tip over 100. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Oh, my God, I'm not going anywhere at all. The moment I landed in Amsterdam, I remembered how badly I wanted to see the astrological clock. I keep saying, no, astronomical clock. Yeah. Which bummed me out because I literally named a Pokemon after it. I think Insurgents. I think it's Orloy or Loj. And I forgot that I wanted to see it while I was there because it was so goddamn hot. It was really hard to sleep. The bed was not super comfortable. It was so warm. I was just so exhausted. I think I was editing remotely while I was there. And Amsterdam was not much better. It was also very hot. We had the hackathon. And the room got even tinier, and the hotel I was at was a combination hotel and student housing. And they did the best they could, but there were definitely elements of it that felt kind of run down. Not from like lack of care, but just extreme use, you know? Oh yeah, the astronomical clock is gorgeous. It's part of why I wanted to go see it. It looked incredible. I'm like so low in this frame. I'm going to see if I can fix that real quick. But so I didn't go anywhere. I didn't get to see Prague. I didn't get to see Amsterdam because I was so goddamn sweaty and tired, very sleep deprived. All right, this is going to get a little bit. Ooh, damn it. The coolest thing about doing all this shit on a couch is that my lap desk thing is differently slanted depending on whether it's on the cushion on my lap or the cushion to the side. So everything's always falling off of it. Give me 1 second here. Let's see what I can do. There we go. That's a little better, I think. Yeah, that's a lot better. So didn't really get to see Prague, didn't really get to see Amsterdam. And then I finally got home on, what would that have been? The very, very end of... Did I even get home? Yeah, no, it would have been Wednesday evening. But because I went west over 5 or 6 time zones, the day felt like it was 30 hours long. So I was gone for, I think, 10 days ultimately, which is longer than I've ever been gone from home in a single run ever in my life. And like for sure also the longest that I've ever been away from Sarah, which I was feeling so fucking lonely by the end. I was so tired. I was so like my mental state was not good. And to make matters worse, and I've talked about this a bunch too, I had an accident right before leaving for this trip. Where I was doing dishes literally 15 minutes before I was going to hop on a Discord call with CJ and Dave and Sanchez to finish the Escape the Backrooms streams. I was washing a ceramic bowl and it slipped and I kind of reflexively went, whoa, like didn't try to catch it exactly. Just kind of like, you just kind of go, whoa, like you whatever. And that motion wound up like spiking the bowl directly into the counter, which made it essentially explode, including right against my left wrist. So that, I mean, you know, content warning of descriptions of, you know, physical harm, I guess, non-intentional physical harm. I literally, it was like smash, a just explosion of blood very quickly, and I grabbed my wrist and was like, huh, gah, oh, and like Sarah calls down like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, we have to go to the hospital right now. I wasn't super sure exactly everything that happened because it happened so fast, but all I knew was I cut myself somewhere on my wrist. There was a lot of blood very fast, and I really don't want to like die on my kitchen floor. So Sarah got a rag. I went, I like grabbed it and threw it back on there. We got in the car. We were headed for the hospital. The nearest hospital is about half an hour away, which I didn't know until we were in the car. I was kind of hoping it'd be more like 5-10 minutes. Nope. So I held my wrist elevated for half an hour getting to the hospital. She let me out at the like emergency room door because she was like, "All right, should we park?" I'm like, "Literally, just let me out. I'll go stand at I'll go check in, whatever, and you can park." And she's like, "Oh, okay, yep." And so I hopped out, did that, and then I stood in line for like 10 minutes. That was the most alien experience of my life because like by this point, I probably should have known that this was not a life-threatening injury, but I wasn't like 100% on that. All I knew was like, all right, I have an open wound. There was a lot of blood. There hasn't been much blood since, which maybe that meant that I was just grabbing it tight enough to keep it all, in place or whatever or something. But like, I'm sitting here like this in the line at the hospital, third in line, as it's slowly one person goes, a second person goes, and then it's me. And I'm just like, thank God I don't actually have a life-threatening injury because like, oh boy. So the comedy of the moment was honestly hilarious in hindsight, even at the time, because it was just like they were asking like, can you sign your name right now? And I was like, I don't think so. No. And they're like, okay, that's fine. They were asking also like, do you have your insurance on you? And it's like, I do. It's in my wallet, which is in my back pocket. And they're like, okay, we can handle that after. I'm like, thank you. So they got me checked in. They had me go sit. Sarah, had parked and came in and sat next to me. And then probably a good half hour went by and they called me into like the front desk area where they took a look at it. God damn it. They took a look at it and took off the rag, threw it away. Well, they asked if I wanted to keep it. I was like, no. I'm like, okay. And yeah, right. And they properly bandaged it up. They put some gauze. They put a padding thing on. They did all that stuff. And they were like, okay, so, all right, and they mentioned like, okay, so you're not really bleeding much right now. And I was like, oh, that's good. But they're like, but it is an open thing. You're definitely going to need stitches today. I was like, I kind of figured. And they're like, okay, so we've got this all bandaged up. Just head back over there, and we'll call you when we're ready. I was like, okay. I was like, should I keep it like elevated? And they're like, if you want to. And I was like, sure, okay. So I kept it elevated because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? So several hours pass as we're out there. I think, around this time, we also messaged the guys to be like, hey, so I'm not going to make the stream tonight. Sorry. They were literally in a Discord call trying to call me when Sarah was able to message them to let them know. So somewhere around like midnight-ish. So I had cut myself around 8 p.m. Somewhere around midnight, they are able to finally... Actually, was it midnight? No, I think it might have been more like 1 a.m. They finally bring me into the back area. They bring me into the like emergency room zone. And they sit me down on a hospital bed that was just kind of at the end of the hallway because I think all the rooms were full at the moment, which is fine. I didn't need any like privacy. I didn't need whatever. I'm bleeding 40 minutes. It would have been worse if I kept bleeding. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so it took them another like hour and a half or so to actually like come see me because it was I guess just a very busy night there. But When they did, so the woman, I forget if it was a doctor or a nurse that wound up actually seeing me in the end, but whoever it was, carefully kind of pulled the stuff and like they got the next thing ready because they were like, all right, so we have to use a, like, I think it was lidocaine or something like that, or xylocaine. I forget. It's some numbing agent. So I've gotten stitches before. You're not gonna be able to really see. Oh, you actually might be able to just barely see it. It's right here. It's between this knuckle and this knuckle. You can just make out a faint, pale sort of line that's there, just barely. So I got stitches there when I was in 8th grade. And for that, I distinctly remember them saying, look, normally we inject a numbing agent into like the local site. It'll be a local numbing agent. The problem is we can't do that with fingers. You can't safely inject especially into the non-padded side of a finger. It just doesn't work. Not to mention, if you mess up because of how few spots there are that are viable there, you can actually like paralyze a finger. So for that, they were just like, look, we're just going to dunk your wound directly into, and this was so funny. It was like, so if you've ever gone to like a burger joint and they have those little tiny plastic containers for like ketchup or what have you, it was that, but full of the numbing agent. And they just took my finger and they were like, all right, time to just dunk into that. And that was how that worked. And also 2 of the stitches went in and I felt every bit of that. And the middle one was fine. I was like, okay, cool. But I guess the way that the numbing agent got in, it just didn't get to the sides. So this time they were like, look, we're going to inject you with this. And I was like, sweet, go for it. And they're like, okay, it does cause a burning sensation on its way in. And I'm like, all right. And so they do it. And like, I'm not a fan of needles in the first place. And it was like, needle goes in. Ooh, that hurts. Okay, it's a needle. And then they do the whoop. And like, it genuinely felt like someone was like shoving hot oil into my body. Like, it burned so bad. And they needed to do it twice to be sure they got the whole area. And then when they were prepping and ready to go, they were like, so do you feel this? Do you feel this? I'm like, nope. They're like, all right, cool. And like, as they kind of moved to do a thing, I was like, ooh, I did feel that though. And they're like, let's get you with one more. So they hit me with a third one. And I'm like gripping the side of the hospital bed and just like, like it was embarrassing, but like, fuck, that hurt. But then when they went to do the stitches, didn't feel a thing. Did not feel a thing. Thank God. 'Cause holy shit. It was so weird because like the sensation to me, it felt like my arm was made of like baseball glove leather. I don't know how else to put it, but it was just like, it was the strangest sensation because you can feel it, but there's no pain. Like, it just feels like material moving around. It's so like, what's even a good, I'm trying to think of like what a good approximation is. And the best I could say is it's like if you just literally took, if you, like a part of your body, like a looser skin bit and just kind of tugged on it, it felt less, there was less sensation than that. I'm glad that you didn't wind up losing an eye, by the way. That is like one of the most terrifying things in the world to me, is like losing an eye to an injury. Sarah also almost lost an eye at one point for something that wound up breaking her nose instead. Back in college. But yeah, so stitches went in. And they were like, all right, you're good to go. You need to keep this covered. You need to keep it dry. You need to keep it clean. And I was like, hey, so I'm about to go to Europe for basically 2 weeks for work. Is that going to be okay? Or should I see if I can not go? And she was like, no, you can definitely go. And the other nurse that was there was like, honestly, I wouldn't let that stop me from going to Europe. I was like, okay, all right. Oof. I'm very sorry to hear that. But yeah, so turns out when you have a freshly stitched wound, nothing agitates it more then toting 3 huge bags around several airports over and over and over again over the span of 2 weeks. Because the idea was stitches were going to stay in for approximately 10 days, and then they could come out. And I mentioned to them, there was like, so at the 10-day mark, I'm going to be in Amsterdam. And I'm probably going to be actually accounted for literally all day and the day after. Is it okay if they stay in like 2 extra days till I get home? And they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. I'm like, all right, cool. They did also recommend like, oh, if you have time in Amsterdam, I think they got free clinics that'll do that. And I'm like, I mean, we'll see. But it was pretty clear to me that stuff was getting like irritated and a little infected. Not very badly, to be clear. It wasn't like a horrible situation. It was like the stitch spots were not good. The actual like wound itself was doing great. Great is maybe not the right word. It was doing good. The heat did not help. Sweating did not help. It was very hard to actually keep that thing fully dry. I got home on Wednesday and went to a clinic, an urgent care place, with all of my luggage in Boston while I waited for my train. And they took a look. The woman took a look at it and was like, so the stitches can come out, but yeah, this definitely isn't fully closed yet. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of what I was worried about, honestly. And she's like, yeah, all right, well, here's what we'll do. So she took the stitches out, and then she grabbed skin tape and skin glue, 2 strips of, it was 3 stitches, by the way, but this was 2 strips of skin glue or skin tape, and then kind of like skin glue that was like dotted on. It was like a glue stick, and dotted it all on, and it turned it to kind of a hard shell for a little while. And she was like, all right, this will hold everything in place. You don't need to have it necessarily covered up anymore. But obviously, like, try to keep it away from stuff and all that, and try to keep it dry for the next 24, 48 hours. And in the next week or 2, it'll fall off on its own. Don't peel it off. It'll come off on its own. I was like, okay. Next week, I'm supposed to be going on vacation for a week to a lake. Is that going to be okay? Am I going to be able to swim? And she was like, yeah, I think you'll be able to. That should be good. You should be able to swim after once it's sealed in like a day or 2. You should be all good. I was like, all right. When I got to the lake, I was like, hey, and I thought about it again. I'm going, if there's even a chance that this is not fully sealed, I definitely don't want lake water getting into an open wound. Like, that seems like a really bad idea and a great way to get like ultra infected. So yeah, the magic shell chocolate. Yes, actually, that is very accurate. So yeah. So I didn't go swimming at all during the week I was on the lake. Yeah, a lot of maybe answers. So I didn't swim at all. Which, granted, the first 2.5 days we were there, the weather was not good. A lot of rain. So I didn't miss out a ton. I almost went swimming on the last 2 days, except it was starting to peel. And I could kind of like, there was the arm, and then there was this, and it kind of did one of these. And I'm like trying to look inside to see whether it's actually sealed up or not, and I genuinely couldn't tell. I was like, if I don't know for a fact that this is sealed up good, I am not sticking my arm in lake water. That's not happening. So much horrible shit could happen if that gets into my body. And then on the Friday we were there, it was already peeled off quite a bit, but like the bulk of it was still kind of flapping on there. And I had like an itch that I had, like, you know, at like my waistband, and I thoughtlessly went to go and scratch, and it was like bloop, and it like grabbed it. I was like, oh shit, but it did peel stuff off, and I was like, okay, so whoop, that's gone now. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, so it's closed almost completely. There's like a little tiny spot that's maybe not sealed up yet. So I'm definitely not going to go swimming. Also, like, it was straight up a layer of skin missing in some spots. So it was very, like, raw, fresh skin that was there. And I was like, yeah, that's going to get super agitated too. So after this vacation, we came back and we had just a regular week. I was home all week. It was a regular week of work, all that jazz. And stuff started to look a little bit better. I was still trying not to like put too much like stretching pressure on it because it still was very thin at the connecting point. And I was occasionally throwing Band-Aids on it if I didn't want to risk it being like seen. Just because I was kind of concerned about like, you know, grossing people out or what have you. And I was like, I just don't want to like have it be a thing. For those who are curious, I can show you what it looks like. I'll give you a warning that I'm about to show you because I don't want anybody who does not want to see this to see it against their will. So I'm about to show you. I will tell you when it's off camera. I've accidentally shown it once or twice very briefly in this, but I can give you a good look at it here. So I'm about to show it. If you don't want to see it, avert your eyes. 3, 2, 1. So this is the current state of it. I'm trying to see if I can get it in focus. I don't know where my exact focus point is right now. Somewhere around here. It's a little blurry. But yeah, the scar is very visible. The stitch holes are all very visible as well, all 6 of them. It's healing up pretty well. It's very much sealed now. The weird part is if I run my finger over it, so the bottom part felt very bunched up because that was the part that was getting the most pressure going this way. And while after the skin glue, skin tape stuff, while it was actually sealing and healing, it genuinely felt like lumps of skin that were just kind of there because of the way it was tugged while the stitches were on. It feels less that way now, which is good because I was very worried that it was going to like heal in a way where it was just going to be this dense, thick skin on my wrist. That's not the case anymore. But it is coming along pretty well. The redness is very slowly going away, but I may, you know, absent-mindedly have my wrist visible in stuff going forward. I will do my best to not do that until the scar is mostly gone. Yeah, it's not nearly as bad. It's also not nearly as bad now as it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, all the way back to 6 weeks ago when it happened. But yeah, it's not too bad. But the scariest fucking thing is like, okay, so I got myself here, literally a few inches this way, and this would be a very, very different story. I have all the feeling in my hand. I haven't lost any mobility at all. So, like, this is all good. Nothing to worry about there. I got very lucky with that. I am now going to keep my wrist off the screen. You are safe to look again if you are averting your eyes. But yeah, so that's the way that has gone down. So that was a lot, and it meant that I wasn't getting great sleep because I had to be very careful about how I was rolling over in my sleep and lying down. And I was stressing about it. I was already not having a lot of hours for sleep in Europe, and that didn't help. And then when we were on vacation, it was a tiny, tiny bed that Sarah and I shared, and it was warm, and I've got my CPAP, so I can only lay in certain positions. And I was trying to like lie down in a way where I wasn't at risk of like if Sarah rolled over in her sleep, if she was going to roll onto it. It was a whole thing. Hello, C-Dude. So that was a lot of stuff going on there. So I was very burnt out and stressed out coming back from all that. We had the normal week where I was getting stuff done. And also my boss at work was having his last couple weeks because he is currently on paternity leave, and then he's using up his vacation, and then he is moving to a new job. So my last meeting with him was about a week ago, a week and a half now. So there was a lot of stuff there. I've got a work project right now that I'm kind of stressing about because I haven't had much time or mental energy to get at. And then, so last week, so we had a regular week of work, and then Sunday of that week, I drove from Boston to a secret location to attend Zeldathon. So I participated in a Zeldathon side quest, Retro Rodeo, earlier in the year, and then I wound up some folks that were like involved with Zeldathon were like, hey, you should have. Oh, god damn it! I still need to look into what the fuck this is all about. I don't know why this happens. But a few people, like in the sphere of Zeldathon, were like, hey, you should apply for Zeldathon as a cast member. And I was like, well, sure, yeah, why not? Maybe I can give that a shot. I hate that I have to like tell this authorization thing to authorize me twice to get it to actually work too. I don't know why this acts like this. Are we good? There we go. That should pick up in a second. But yeah, so there we go. But yeah, so I spent literally, I meant to leave early in the day, like by lunchtime, but instead I spent most of the early part of the day putting together the trailer that I had meant to do earlier on, but had no time for because I applied and I got accepted. I was psyched. And then I applied to have YouGame be part of it, and that got accepted also, and I was psyched for that. And so I made a trailer for it right before leaving. And then rather than leaving in the morning like breakfast lunchtime, I was instead leaving at like dinnerish time. And this is also, I didn't even mention, in the midst of all the Europe stuff, I was in the run up to it, I was in the process of getting my license. Sorry, no, I was in the process of buying a car. I bought a used car, which I now own. And my driving test was 2 days after I got back from Amsterdam and 2 days before we left for the lakeside vacation. The driving test went great. I was nervous because when I took a driving test at 17, I had to do it twice. I failed the first time. The main one was that I was using the rear view mirror while backing up, which is a big no-no. I think that's an instant fail by itself. You have to do that maneuver. You have to physically look behind you. I was so nervous about that happening again because time was not on my side. I did my like written test legit like 2 years ago, and you only have 2 years after you get your learner's permit in order to actually get your driver's license. And the window for that to happen expired last week. So I was like, I need to get this done now, because if I fail it here, I've got the 1 week in between trips that I could potentially do this. Part of why I was so gung-ho about buying a car, other than the fact that I need a car at this point, now that we're not living in the city, was that I wanted to have a car for the driving test. And then, oops, the car that I wound up buying is not valid for the driving test because it does not have a central column e-brake. The e-brake is on the left side, essentially where you'd expect the clutch to be on a manual transmission car. It instead has a big, huge e-brake like pedal. So I had to rent a car specifically for the driving test, which meant on the day of the driving test, the driving test, I had to drive past the location of the driving test by about half an hour to go pick up the rental car, and then drive half an hour to the test, which I then passed with flying colors. Apparently, the guy was like, so, I literally have no notes. You're good. And I'm like, all right. Oh, sweet. Awesome. And he's like, yeah, I literally don't have a single thing to tell you. And I'm like, all right, sweet. Which included, I was glad I looked. I don't know how many states have specific laws on this, but in Massachusetts, e-brake usage on hills, not just e-brake usage, but you're supposed to turn your wheels in a specific direction depending on whether you're facing uphill or downhill and if there's a curb. And I got the instance where it was the specific one that is different from the others when we did it, and I got that one right. And I was like, thank God I looked while we were waiting to go. But so I aced it. Went great. Yeah, driving colors. Yeah. What was worth, the written or the practical exam? Oh, the practical exam for sure. The written exam, so much of it is common sense that like it's not a big deal. I haven't driven regularly prior to getting this in 14 years. My car that I got at the end of high school, which was a hand-me-down from my grandmother after she passed away, I drove that from, I would say 2004 until 2012. I had it for basically the last year and a half of high school. I had it for all of college. I had it when we started the D-pad. And then when I moved to Somerville in the apartment with John and Meg, I had moved everything using that car. It was a 2000 Dodge Neon. I moved everything with that car. And then a month later, as I was driving to a comedy event that I was like I was doing sketch comedy with some old college friends at Improv Boston. Actually, was it Improv Boston? I think it was. Improv Boston is no longer with us, sadly. Improv Asylum still is. But as I was driving there, this might have actually been at the end of it, but I was pulling out of a parking like lot area, and I got onto the road, and after I was in motion, some asshole who was right here decided they were going to swerve to do a parallel park at like 30 miles an hour. They were drunk for sure. I smelled it on their breath. But when they did that, they sideswiped my car, and like, bam, the driver's side basically just crumpled super hard. Glass everywhere. The door actually like banged into my leg. It could have done a lot more damage. I was fine in the end, but it could have been way worse. But so I took it to a place afterwards, and they were like, yeah, it's not looking good, and the frame has a little dent in it, which means it's basically dead. It's like, fuck, all right. And I asked too, was like, how much would it take to fix that? And the number that he gave me was more than I paid for the car in the first place. I'm like, okay, yep, this is done. So at that point, I was living in the city where we had the MBTA, Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority, I think is the full name. And I basically didn't need a car for just about anything. So I didn't the entire time I lived there. And then we moved here in the fall of 2023, or I guess at the end of summer 2023. And at that point, it was like, at some point, I should probably get on getting a car. I had the driving test system where I live. I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but I had to bring my own car, family's car, to do my test. Yes. Well, some states and some locations, it does have to be your car. In some, you can just have a car for it. Like, I did a rental car because essentially, other than during COVID, in Massachusetts, you are required to be the one to bring a car. It doesn't necessarily have to be registered in your name, but you do have to be responsible for the car. Whole Tusker thing breaking on the day of the driving test. Oh, no. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, they're very specific on, like, you basically pass a micro inspection on the day of, which was part of the reason I was very, like, I was like, all right, we have a rental car from a place that specializes in driving test rentals. If this shit fails inspection on the day of, then I'm going to have some fucking words. But yeah, so driving test went well. So we drove the half hour to drop the rental car off. Then we drove the hour home in the car that was now belonging to me. And also I was legally allowed to drive without other people in the car. It was written down. They were like, oh, your license will come in the mail. It's like, all right, fine. I was literally about to show my license. And I was like, hey, maybe that's a bad idea. Let's not do that. My car was super old even at the time, but it was good enough for their test, I suppose. Yeah, now I have a 2010 Ford Taurus, which is a boat. It's a very pretty car. Yeah, show it. Maybe I can show you the image. I'll cover up the rest. Let me see if I can safely do that. Yeah, I think I can do that. It's not my best picture ever. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, this is not going to get in focus at all. Let's see. Yeah, can I? Sorry, wrist in view. Sorry. It's not great. But anyway, I don't remember if a Ford. I don't know if a Ford Taurus was ever used as a cop car. It might have. It wouldn't surprise me. Like Dodge Chargers and stuff are pretty common cop cars. Not anymore, but they were for like a couple decades. Oh, did they use Ford Tauruses in New York City? Holy shit. Those have to be like so hard to navigate in New York City, and they're huge. They're huge cars. I wanted a tiny sedan, and I wound up with that, not really thinking about it. And I'm happy with it. It drives very smooth. AKA Bud's future car. Yes, yeah. Ford Taurus is the water element version. But yeah, so the timing of stuff was crazy though, because we signed the paperwork for the car and all that stuff, but it needed to like go through insurance and stuff. So while I was in Europe, the insurance stuff was happening, and Sarah showed up. Sarah took a lift into the city to go grab the car and drive it home. So literally the first time I properly drove the car was to my driving test that I then didn't even use the car for. One of my friends owns one of those Chargers. He has the spotlight things on the sides. And once finally walking home, just started shining that shit. Oh no. I would be tempted to do that if I had, you know, a couple cop car accoutrements in there. But yeah, so all of that shit was going on at the same time. And then immediately it's like, sweet, I'm going to go on this huge long road trip to Zeldathon, which generally went fine, but it took so long to get there. I got to the hotel that was like nearby for this thing at 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 a.m. And my segment, my U Game segment was Monday night. It was, but like my segment was scheduled to start about 18 hours after I arrived. And I wasn't done prepping for it either. I had a lot of stuff I still had to do. So I got a couple hours sleep. I think I set my alarm for 10 a.m. Certainly before noon. I took that day off from work. The rest of the week I was working remotely from Zeldathon. I woke up. I kept trying to get stuff done, and then I must have set my alarm for 10ish, because around noon, I think it was Mojo, who I believe was the brains behind the Legends of the Forest Temple segments for Super Zeldathon, DM'd me on Discord and was like, please show up for Legends of the Forest Temple. I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm down. I was very interested in both that and Zelda Changer, honestly, like even just as a spectator. So I'm definitely down for jumping in on it. And she was like, yes, please. And I'm like, okay. And this was a thing that was at like scheduled to be something like 3:00 that afternoon. She was like, I promise that we will make time to like get your game show sorted out, after it's done. I was like, that's okay. All right, that's fine. So I went. I had fun. It was very brief because the opening game for the episode I was in for that was there were a number of colored dots on the floor. And Ganon11, who was the host, would spin a spinner of colors, and then whatever color it landed on, everyone had to try to jump to that color of dot. If two people landed on the same dot, then you have to very quickly do rock, paper, scissors. If there's a winner, then they get it. If you tie, then neither of you get it, and you go back. as the red Gorons, we were off to the very left. And literally, if you watch the video, you can see me in the background just going constantly because the the colors that kept getting spun, and this is just sheer dumb luck, none of them were over in our area at all. Like, zero. I got to jump to one dot, and then I was stranded there for the entire rest of that game. So our team got eliminated, which was a bummer. But we got to watch the rest, which was a lot of fun. And so after that, it was like, cool, awesome. All right. And then I think I raced back. Did I go back to the hotel? I don't actually remember if I went back to the hotel or not. Or if I just found a spot nearby and was just kept working. Because then I kept, like, pulling questions, getting slides ready. And then like, stuff was delayed, which was great news. Like, by almost an hour, I'm like, sweet, I need it. Great. And my producer, Real Colors, was like, yep, nope, totally all good. And like, sweet, all right. We had some, like, technical stuff that I had to go join the tech room to sort out. I was like, all right, cool. We got all that situated. I was a sweaty, paranoid, neurotic mess. And then we went up. We had the show. I want to say, if you were to go looking for it, I think we started around the 35 or 35 and a half hour mark of the entire event, something like that. That vamping before your segment to kill time. Oh, yeah. So that was a really clever thing that they had set up. And I think that they've been doing that for several Zeldathons now, where in between segments, if you need more time, they'll have what's called the live BRB, which is someone somewhere on set. Because we had 2 different rooms plus a side table for camera stuff. Where, like, at a side table where, like, the dono table where the camera could go. So they just had, at various points throughout Zeldathon, they have moments where they'll cut to just kind of a vamping sort of segment in between, burn a little time. Hello, SD Hero. Hello. But yeah, so they were vamping for a little bit. And then I was ready. We figured out our bits for it, the incentives. We had a great time. I've already got thoughts on how to improve it for a future Zeldathon. Aside from just being more prepared ahead of time, broadly speaking. But it went really well. We had Dayumi, Daniel Alba, we had Toontress, and we had Tired Melon as our 4 contestants. Honestly, they all did really well. Because the goal with U Game is that by the end of it, the questions are intentionally getting pretty bullshit. But people were making some strong polls there, some strong trivia polls. I was very impressed with how folks were doing. But it went very well. And after that, I just kind of was like, okay, cool. I hung out for a little bit, and then I went back to the hotel room and passed out super hard for like 4 hours because I was scheduled for a 10 a.m. stream tech shift from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So, unfortunately, that was one of the bits that I messed up. I was correct in that Daniel was incorrect. It is in fact 25 mweeps, not 22. I did write it down. I did watch a video that day to verify, but I was so tired that I was very easily talked out of it. But it was 25. Nobody got that one correct. Sadly. But if I get something wrong, then I get something wrong. So that's how that worked there. Bunch of Rick time with how much is happening. Yeah, oh my God. But yeah, so I got back to the hotel probably around 1 a.m. I think I got up at like 7. I probably got around 4 hours of sleep in total. Got up, got showered, got myself back over there where I ran tech for 4 hours. I'm trying to remember what I ran tech for. I didn't start right at 10 because there were some technical issues going on that the previous shift crew was sorting out. So I hopped on closer to 11, where I was on for mostly I was there for actually Daniel was doing Majora's Mask with speed up and slow down controlled by donations. Triss was, what's funny is, so Triss was also on the couch, I think, for the entire thing. And Lana Ruse, who you guys might be familiar with from some of the Mario Party Madness stuff as well as like Triss and all of that. And Daniel too, though obviously Daniel's more, well known for Good Vibes Gaming. Lana Ruse was actually the dono reader for most of it. I think she had to step out near the end. But so that was fun. I'm trying to remember what the segment after that was. And I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head. But so went pretty well. And then after that, I had a meeting immediately after, so I had to race back to the room. Worked. Went to bed. Had a bunch of meetings the following day with work. Worked. Went to bed. I'm trying to remember if there was something going on Wednesday night that had me... No, I don't think I was in there Wednesday night. No, Wednesday night was when we took the picture, I think. Wednesday afternoon, I want to say, was when the big group photo was taken. So I literally drove in just for that and then drove back. And it was so hot. The room we were in was like a magnifying glass. Huge glass things everywhere, and the sun was pointing directly at us, and it was so hot all week. GVG is just GVG now. They got tired of people in chat being critical of any video that wasn't positive of theirs. Oh, no kidding. Oh, my bad. I've been a patron of theirs since literally this. I have been in the credits of like all of their videos as an EP, and I have not kept up with it at all. I need so badly to actually like watch more of GVG and like, hop into the chat for like streams and stuff, but it's probably the best considering the world of gaming. It does not have a lot of good vibes in it right now, sadly. But yeah. And like, it's a funny joke once in a while, but I'm sure that shit got so old so fast. Anytime they had something less positive to say, it was like, oh, bad vibes gaming. Like, okay, but yeah, Thursday, I had a 6 a.m. shift with Stream Tech. And what was I running for that one? Let me actually see if I can pull up the... I can probably just pull up the actual spreadsheet for this. Let's see. Yeah, Thursday... Oh, yeah, there was... I forget what the segment that was, but the segment before was kind of unplanned. Initially, it was just going to be like, everyone's going to figure it out. Was it Horse Stream? It might have been Horsey Stream. It might have been Horse. Oh, no, Horse Hunting was later. Yeah, I don't know. But most of it was... Was most of it Link's Awakening then? I guess so. Yeah, Link's Awakening DX with Eevee. I remember, like, my brain is mush from this because I was getting so little sleep. Like, Wednesday night, I went and did that, and then I kind of went back and tried to get to bed early, but it was so bright out that I really didn't have an easy time doing that. And then I got up at, like, I think I set my alarm for 4, maybe even 3:30, so that I could get up, take a shower, have some kind of food, and then go off to my 6 a.m. shift, 6 to 10. And then immediately after that, I had a meeting. Like, literally 10:30, I had a meeting. Did I take that from there? How did I do that? I'm trying to remember now. I think I just tucked myself in a random corner to take my meeting. But I went back, kept working through the day. And then Friday, I also had a 6 a.m. shift. This time I was doing audio. The good news there is I had to do almost nothing. Most of that shift was, I want to say, Twilight Princess. Yeah, Twilight Princess and Link's crossbow training was what was going on with that. And then Saturday, I wound up being in the final Legends of the Forest Temple in the afternoon, which, similar situation, the Red Goron team failed out in the first mission, which was essentially building a ladder as you do it. Some people had really clever stuff, which I had an idea for one, but based off of something that we were told we cannot do before, I decided not to. So you have two rungs. You stand on one, you grab the other, you put it in front of you. My thought was, what if I kind of like crouch down, 1 foot and 1 hand on each of them, and I just kind of like crab walk it across? But oh yeah, it couldn't have been Legend of the Water Temple because we had Olmeku, the great Olmeku tree, which then became a stream effect, sound effect thing for the entire rest of it, where someone would ask Olmeku something during other segments, you get an "Oh yeah," or "That is incorrect," or something along those lines. It was a lot of fun though. That was pretty good. I watched some of Zelda Changer, which I think was Friday night. I couldn't stay for the whole thing because I was just absolutely fucking cooked. And somewhere in the mix, there was also, let's see, when was Zelda Changer? Oh, sorry, Zelda Changer was Thursday night, which I couldn't stay to watch all of because I had to get up for my Friday shift, which was at 6 a.m. also. But there was also the One Controller Gauntlet on Saturday, immediately after Legends of the Forest Temple, and the idea was a bunch of us were sitting on the couch while TGH, who was a Zelda speedrunner, had one Joy-Con, and randomly selected other members of the room had a second Joy-Con, and we would try to get as far as we could into various Zelda games. I wound up having the controller. I think I only had the controller once during the whole thing, and we had Zelda 2 for a little bit. We didn't beat any bosses while I was controlling it, but we did get through some kind of tricky stuff to get a key that we needed. And I was also on for some Link's Awakening for the Switch, which we actually did the first segment of, if I recall correctly. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, no, because we talked to we talked to Taryn, went down and got the sword, and we got the mushroom and got back to town before the game got switched again. Skyward Sword was not on the list, if I recall correctly. It was only games that were playable on the Switch. And I don't know. I guess actually, no, I don't think Skyward Sword HD is on Switch currently. I think that was a Wii U. I don't remember. But maybe that was Switch. I don't know. But that was a fun time. And then we got down to the end where the final segment isn't on the Switch. Okay. I thought that, no, I'm thinking of Twilight Princess HD. I was like, I thought that I was making the joke for a while that both the normal and HD versions are playable on the same system, and that's not quite true. The Twilight Princess HD, you can play both Twilight Princess and Twilight Princess HD physically on the Wii U, which is fucking hilarious to me. But anyway, so the final segment of the stream was one where, like, Clinkit was kind of like, it was sort of had like a couch full of folks, and Champerl was the one who wound up having their hands on the controller for most of this. And Champerl was not in on the gag, which was that it was a game of Majora's Mask that had a script involved such that when certain thresholds of donations occurred, it would reset back to the dawn of the first day and start you over, but with a higher bar for keeping the donations going. And the trick was every time the threshold for keeping the game going was met, the dollar amount went up, and the amount of time left, the amount of time added to the time remaining went down. Like the amount that was gained was less and less each time. But so the idea was that whenever it reset the time, the clock speed was manipulated such that the time, essentially that time would run out like along with the time left to go. So if the timer said like, all right, we've got, at one point we had 22 minutes left. So what that means is the amount of time it would take to get from 6 a.m. first day to 5:59 moon crash final night was that 22 minutes, and it was divvied up such that whatever the amount of time was, so we'll say 24 minutes because the math will be easier for this. But so if we have 24 minutes from start to finish of Majora's Mask, then the first day would take 12 minutes. The second day would take 8 minutes, so 1/3. And then the third day would take 4 minutes, so that would be 1/6. So it would just speed up, speed up, speed up. And so by the end, the clock was literally going whoa, 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 whoa through those. It was very, very funny. They had people come in to do little bits here and there, with the idea being that I think it was for $10.30, you could choose something that would be marked as Y2K compliant. It would get a sticker. The idea being if you're not marked Y2K compliant, then you're not going to survive Y2K into 2000. The theme of Super Zelda-thon being the 90s. And for $19.99, you could remove compliance. So I wound up trolling the donos for a little while with that, asking for compliance of very silly things. I wound up asking for a basket on the couch to be made compliant. The other gag being that people kept removing Clinket's compliance. So during periods where Clinket was not compliant, I marked a basket that was sitting next to her as compliant. A whiteboard she was holding was marked compliant. I marked another person in the room as compliant. I marked some hand sanitizer that was part of the set decoration as compliant. I marked the actual the actual stream overlay itself as compliant. So they took the image of the sticker and like put it onto the screen for a bunch of it. I had 2 of the people in the room shake hands, and the handshake was marked as compliant. Which was fortunate timing because both of them had to leave from the set to go do something else at like nearly the exact same moment, which was not, I didn't know that, but they both needed to dash. It was a great excuse for them to get up and like walk out shaking hands. I think there was like one more. What the hell was it? I tried marking some of the art in the background as compliant. I also made sure, it was literally the last thing that happened. I marked the compliance officer. I'm trying to remember who was the compliance officer. But they had mentioned with just a few minutes left to the end that like, oh no, I have not been marked compliant. I'm not going to make it. So like with literally 5 seconds to go, I got him marked compliant. I got marked compliant when I was briefly on there for the final segment, and then we were in there, and about like half an hour or so spent with all the various credits and thanks and things, and then the teaser for the next Zelda-thon coming later this year, which we'll see if I get in on that. I don't entirely know what the format is going to be. I don't think a lot of folks quite yet know exactly what the format is going to be for that. In terms of like overall stuff, obviously the segments haven't been figured out, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good time. So then on that Sunday, I drove home, and that took 12 hours. I technically, from the moment I left the hotel room, it was even more than that. I left the hotel room around 10:30 a.m. and I got home just before the stroke of midnight. So 13 and a half hours it took me to get home. And then the following day, I had to drive into Boston for a work conference. Notably missing a bunch of swag that we were supposed to have that didn't make it to me in time because I was toting a bunch of stuff in for this tech conference for Laracon. It was a conference hosted by Laravel, a PHP-driven company. We had a booth. We were a sponsor. So we were there for 2 days talking up our company's product. I was exhausted. I was burnt to shit exhausted because I got to the hotel at midnight, slept for, 4 hours maybe, because I had stuff I had to do that night. So I didn't even get to bed till almost 2 a.m. I got up at 6 because at 8 o'clock we needed to be in there and setting up our booth. Meanwhile, my colleague, who hails from Chicago, was supposed to fly out around noon on Monday and then get in sometime in the late afternoon, go hit the hotel. There was like a dodgeball thing that he was kind of interested in that was part of the event. And then he wound up getting his flight wound up being delayed by legit 11 hours. Thanks to crazy weather out of Chicago. To the point where he wound up bailing on that flight and getting a different one, which itself got delayed by several hours. He got to the hotel room. He got off his flight around 3 a.m. And he also had to be there for 8 o'clock. So he was having a worse time than I was. So that night, got to the hotel room around 7 or 8. I, stayed up for a little bit because I was like, let me see if I can get a few things going. By the way, while I was at ZeldaCon and Zeldathon, not ZeldaCon, and this thing, my TeamViewer account was like, oh no, we think that you're a business account because XYZ. And I tried appealing that and they never got back to me. So I'm looking into new remote desktop shit because basically the way that worked was if I tried remoting in, I would get about 50 seconds of use before it would boot me out and I'd have to do it again, which would take around 15 seconds, which made editing borderline impossible. It was genuinely next to impossible to get editing done, which is why there was so little non-stream VOD stuff that's gone up in the last couple weeks. But so around 9, I was I was watching YouTube videos on a super broken TV. It was a gorgeous hotel room. It was basically a suite that I was in. But the TV was busted as fuck. Colors were all messed up and the remote barely worked. But also the Wi-Fi was also barely functional, so couldn't just watch videos on my laptop. So I was like, oh my God, I'm passing out. All right, let me get up. I got the CPAP put together again. I took a quick shower because I was feeling sticky and gross. And by the time I got into bed around 9:30, 10, all of a sudden I can't quite manage to get to sleep very easily. And I'm like, come the fuck on, man. Took me a better part of an hour to fall asleep. And then I woke up at 3 and could not get back to sleep. From 3 a.m. onward, I was awake. And then we had our whole second day of this conference. I was fucking dying. We did our raffle and we started wrapping up and we were basically completely wrapped up, good to go. 3:45, maybe 4 o'clock. Actually, no, it was earlier than that. It was more like 3:30. But my coworker was once again getting fucked on flights and was trying to talk through stuff with the chat, with the agent on the other end to get it all sorted out. And our third guy that was there who is more of a sales type person, forgot his phone charger. So me just being like, I'm in the car. I still have to head back to the hotel to get my shit and check out. I'll drive it to him. It's fine. It was like 15-minute drive. Dropped it off. 15-minute drive back to the hotel. Technically, I had the hotel for that night. I could have stayed. But by this point, it was like 5:30 p.m. And I'm like, I don't want to stay here. I'm going to be both bored and exhausted because I'm not going to sleep well. I've got 2 meetings first thing in the morning, which was yesterday, which was not fun. If I drive now, I should get home sometime between 7 and 8. So I did. I checked out early. They were even like, are you checking out early? You still got another night? I'm like, yeah, yes. Got my car, hit the road, came back. I think I got home around like 7:30. And I was just a zombie. And then yesterday I was a zombie, and today I was a zombie. And then we had to deal, and then we had the fiberglass situation, which I did my best to help out with, but I don't think I was very helpful. I did drive Sarah to the urgent care thing, which would have been definitely a pain in the ass for her to do by herself. But and now it's today, and now folks are here for the camping thing, which I've also barely been able to help out with. So I'm going to see if there's some stuff I can do to help with any setup things there. And I'm so tired and exhausted and burnt out. And yeah. I have a bunch of Zeldathon swag that's coming in, but one piece of stuff that is not on their store, I got a cool hoodie. It's a very cool hoodie. And I like it a lot. I wore it on the streams too, so that was fun. Yeah. Holy cow. So it's been a long month and a half. A lot's been going on. I've been exhausted. I've been desperately trying to keep the channel from having zero content going up throughout, and I think I've done okay at that. But it's been kind of crazy. Things are going to be a lot better going forward now that I'm back. We've got, as I suppose, light spoilery things of stuff that's going on. So we've got some Spyro stuff recorded. I was originally going to have some of this going up while I was gone for these last couple of weeks, but I just didn't have the ability to. Excuse me. But we've got more Spyro Season of Ice. We also recorded some Pokemon Insurgents a couple weeks ago. We got more Insurgents under our belt, which I just haven't had the chance to edit, but I should have a good chance to do that for this coming week. Planning to do more of that. There's going to be some Mario Kart World coming out over the course of the next couple weeks. We're going to get Kirby Air Riders finally going. We're going to keep Sonic Racing Cross Worlds going. We're going to bring Echoes of Wisdom back, especially now that we have an Ocarina of Time remake coming. The rumor is in November. The rumor right now is November 11th is when that's going to drop. We'll see. And assuming all goes well on this front, we're going to see, because folks have been... So one thing is, there was going to be another race happening. So I've done my Mega Man X race, my Super Mario World race, my Sonic Mania Plus race. There's another race that was like actively being kind of sorted out that is being held back a little bit because folks were like specifically like, "Hey, we'll wait for you." It was like, "Are you sure?" Similarly, so that's gonna be happening in August. It's a 1-day thing. It'll be a short one. But in addition, there's also, I believe, a Sonic Adventure 2 multi-world randomizer that's being put together that was originally going to be in like June and July for the anniversary. And again, I was like, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm so busy. I'm going to be away for most of this. I'm not going to be able to do this. And I'm like, oh, we'll wait. I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm not free until August. And they're like, yeah, it's cool. I'm like, all right. So that'll be coming at some point. We don't have any specific dates for it yet, but that'll be happening pretty soon. But aside from that, I'm still kind of figuring out details. It might be this coming week. It might be it might be the week after. It's going to depend on how much I can prep by like Sunday. But Sonic Weekathon is returning. I didn't get a chance to do it earlier in the summer because of all this travel. Literally, the first week of this travel would have been the week that I would have done this. And it's been 6 weeks of mostly travel. So from the first to last days of travel, I believe I was home for a total of approximately 10 days out of 40. But so Sonic Weekathon 6 coming very, very soon, either this coming week or the week after. It's going to depend on how things are looking. It might be the weekend. It might be the week after, just for the sake of giving me a chance to like prep for it, because I would like to make a nice trailer. I would like to get my overlays situated ahead of time, and I want to double check that I've got my games sorted out. I know which games I want to do. It's going to be 4 or 5 games, depending on the technical needs of one of them. And it's going to be a simpler approach this time. The last 2 have gotten a little bit out of hand in different ways. Sonic Weekathon 4 Advance, it kept dragging out forever for reasons. But Sonic Weekathon, so Shadowthon, Sonic Weekathon 5, was actually a pretty tight. We actually got that done in a pretty reasonable amount of time. But there were just a lot of moving parts, so there was a lot of stuff happening for that. So this one we're looking at keeping it a lot simpler. 4 or 5 games. I think all but one of them are likely to be a single stream. One of them might get split across 2 streams, but also not take up both streams, but we'll see how that goes. It also depends exactly what I'm going to do with it. I haven't really decided what I want to do with that one just yet, but yeah, it probably won't be just a week, because I'm probably not going to just be like, let's stream every night, because I do want to like pace myself getting back into streaming, because it's been almost 2 months now. It's felt very weird being away from streaming for this long. But yeah, so that's, odds are it will be next week, not this coming week, just because I'm going to be doing this till Sunday. So I don't know how much time I'm going to have, and I've got other stuff I got to take care of. But my expectation is that the entirety of Sonic Weekathon this year will be within August. And that's even just assuming that I'm doing 2 streams a week. Yeah, if it's Mondays and Wednesdays, then it'll just be I would be kind of surprised if we didn't have it done in August if I was doing Monday Wednesdays. Yeah, I mean, so Donkeython's such an interesting one, because the original intent was that I was going to do it annually, and then I did it in 2022, and then 2023 we had moved. And we barely managed to get Extra Life done. And we also did Special Delivery, the Stack Up charity stuff, that same year. And I had started doing Mario Party Madness that year, like right at the same time. And I was just like, fuck, I can't do I think we did a holiday Actually, did we even do a holiday series that year? I'm trying to remember. Although it'd be easy for me to check this. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Because the Ultimate Wii U, I think, was 2024. Let's see. Yeah, Sega Genesis Mini 2 was 2022, which feels like a lifetime ago. And then the Ultimate Wii U was 2024. Yeah, so we did not do a holiday series in 2023. And I was just like, I don't think I can do Donkey-thon. I was so tired. But then we did it in 2024. And then last year we also didn't do it. So maybe it's going to be an every other year thing. Who knows? Who knows? I do have some ideas. I don't have anything in mind yet for Extra Life for this year. I don't even know when we're doing Extra Life because there's a very good chance that the first weekend of Extra Life. So Extra Life Game Day, for what it's worth, is no longer one day. Historically, Game Day has been like the main thing for Extra Life, and it's been a single 24-hour period, usually a Saturday. Though this year, or maybe last year, they changed that, so now it is an 8-day period from Saturday to Saturday. That first Saturday, aside from being immediately after Halloween, there's something else going on that might take up that weekend. So it might be the second weekend of it. I know Clark was also talking about trying to get another Mario Party Mansion going on around that time, particularly relating to Extra Life. So there might be something going on there. But somewhere in the October-November range, we will do an Extra Life. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I got to start talking to people. Now that I'm back, I can start doing planning stuff. I don't know for certain. I have an idea for a console play holiday series this year. It'll be a fun one. It'll be more in the spirit of Ouya Ono and the Ultimate Wii U than like the micro consoles. But we'll see. We'll see what we wind up with. I gotta refine the idea a little bit. It's a little bit open ended, so I gotta refine that. If that's the one we do. So there's that. But I think I'll probably do Donkey-thon this year. It'll depend greatly because I believe the next Zelda-thon is in December. So it may depend on that. May depend if I'm involved in that. It may depend if it's an in-person event versus remote. So a lot of stuff might be in being determined on the fly there. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on. I'm just kind of eyeballing the various games and lists and things. We didn't really talk a ton about schedule stuff, but obviously, like, things have been so up in the air because of just everything that, like, it's, stuff has been sort of crazy on that front. Trying to think if there's anything else that, like, really needs covering. I'm looking forward to when we're into October for the Grand Champion tournament, because I have been in real time prepping all of those thumbnails from across our entire history for use in the videos, and that has been one of the things that's made that a little on the slower side. But once we're into October and round 2, I don't have to go hunting for them anymore. They're all accounted for, and literally all of them will be in one folder and labeled very nicely, so it'll be very, very easy to grab those. So that'll speed that up by a lot. And a lot of the chaff will be cut out by that point, so nearly every game I'll be able to speak at length about without having to, like, go look stuff up or go remind myself of, which will speed up that process too. Because, like, I don't know, if someone gun to my head, if someone told me to tell them about the Zaxxon's Mother Base 2000 video, I have fucking nothing. I have nothing. Oh, have a good one, Peyton Tube. Have a good one. Go have fun with Spider-Man. We're probably going to catch that in the next week or two. Star Force is not done. That's been on hold between a combination of my schedule being crazy, Jeff's schedule being crazy. Jeff just got a new job, so he's been, kind of focused on that. Once he's a little more settled in on that, I think he'll be good for more stuff. He is literally here right now, and he was actually here last night, but he was doing prep stuff for today. He's smoking some meats for camping. End of the weekend though, we might be able to sneak some recording in. So we'll see how that goes. No promises. But yeah. But yeah, Star Force is not done. We do have more coming for that. We will not be done with Star Force until we have 100%ed it. At least to the best of our ability. There's a bit of an asterisk in there because of some specifics for Star Force 3, but we're pretty close there. But yeah. Yeah, it is very good for Jeff. Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't know. There's a part of me that's still this is a weird tangent to get off into right at the very end of this, because I think we're gonna wrap this up shortly, but we every now and then I get the itch to do a podcasty thing again. It's not happening anytime soon. It may not happen at all ever, but I do occasionally have the itch to do a more casually put together version of the old podcast again. It would probably be a format not too dissimilar from this, but more topic driven. And I think I would try to get at least a guest on for as many episodes as possible. But I also wouldn't be opposed to doing just solo ones too. If anyone out there watches, so Curtis Connor has a podcast called Very Really Good, which is a very really good podcast, to be clear. I would say 90% of those are just him by himself talking about stuff. And it's good. It's pretty zen. I think I would want to have guests as often as possible, though, because I think that's part of the kind of spirit of the D-pad, but it's not something I'm thinking about right now. I've got way too many projects on my plate. When there's fewer projects in motion, and perhaps also when I've got fewer, I don't know how else to say it, financial obligations, right? It might make that a bit more of a thing for me. I've currently got, aside from the mortgage, which I'm going to be paying for the next 10 years, I now have a car loan. I'm also paying Sarah back for, she covered a lot of stuff when I was in between jobs, from 2023, 2025. So I'm slowly working my way back with that. We have a Splitwise that I have been very insistent on everything going in there, so that I can pay her back. I also have student loans that I'm wrapping up. So once more of that is squared away, I might, in addition to projects, I might be more comfortable trying to stretch my legs and get back into doing podcasting properly, as opposed to this, or we're going to do podcast episodes of Let's Plays and stuff. But I don't know. I miss it. There's parts of it I miss. There's parts of it I don't miss. It is a grueling thing to do. Anybody who's done a podcast that's been more regular than once a month is well aware that shit is hard to keep going for long stretches. The original D-pad podcast ran for 3 years. I don't think we missed more than half a dozen weeks across the whole thing. 2 of those were because we were switching from independent to unregular radio. And then after we left unregular radio, I think literally that next week we were doing it independently again. But there were maybe 4 or 5 weeks out of that whole thing that we missed. And every couple of years, I'm it'd be nice to get back into that. We did a 5th anniversary episode. We did a 10th anniversary episode. And I think we did one more episode like 3 years ago, probably. And that's been it so far. But I don't know. I don't think it'd even necessarily be a weekly thing. It might be like a bi-weekly type thing or something. But it's not happening anytime soon. I have no plans for it. I have no intention of doing that this year. I got plenty of other stuff that I want to work on in the meantime. I've got several large-scale projects that I'm trying to wrangle into position. Some more important than others. I've got one that's been a monkey on my back for like 2 years. The big video. I've got another I've been working on for about a year. I've got another. Damn it. I've got another that I had planned to have prepped, for like a good year or two, and I just haven't. Being unemployed kind of wound up being a very limiting factor for that, and then once I got employed, I wound up being very, very busy in a way where it was very hard for me to put the time into that in the way that I, could have. And then I have another one that I've been off and on, like, trying to get squared away for literally 5 years now, 6 years, really. So there's a shitload of moving parts on a lot of these things, but I'm going to see if I'm trying to see how many of those I can actually wrangle into place this year. I'm aiming to get at least like 3 of those done, but we'll see. I was expecting to have a lot more downtime over the last month and a half in hotel rooms and shit, and it just didn't happen. So that will definitely impact a couple of these, but anyway, I've been rambling a lot. This has been a very like weird hangout in terms of like my side of things. But I don't know. I just wanted, sorry, I had an itch on my foot. I'm glad to be back. I'm looking forward to things kind of cooling down for a while. It was nice getting to go to Europe. It was incredible going to Zeldathon. I miss it so much already. I met so many cool people. I had already met Zach Pack and Toontress in person before when we did the Mario Party Madness Mansion at PAX East. It was the first time I'd met Daniel in person. That was fun. We chatted a ton, or at least a ton of out of the time that I was there. I wish that I had more time to hang out and chat. There were literally a few points where I had to pull myself away from stuff to go back to either work or sleep. And I got to meet a ton of super cool people there. Tons of folks. Mojo and Real Colors were incredible at help out, and Blue were incredible at helping me get my head on straight for U Game because I was an anxious wreck. Not So Artistic, Amber, Danny Music, Day and Melon, Champrel, Unin, Arrow, Perry, Crealia, tons and tons of folks. And I'm for sure forgetting a bunch of people off the top of my head right now because I'm a pile of mush in my brain. But yeah, whole bunch of folks that it was really, really great to hang out with and chat with, and I wish that I had more time to hang. The next Zeldathon that I can go to in person, I'm going to be taking the time off work so I can actually focus on it because I did not get as much work done as I wanted to get done, and I didn't get as much time at Zeldathon as I wanted to get. So I want to make sure I can actually spend time and like actually, hang more with people and get to know them and all of that, because it was a blast. It's funny because Zeldathon as an institution has been around longer than the D-pad. The first Zeldathon was in 2009. It's rare to run into something that is older than the D-pad. there's been a few YouTubers I've interacted with who have been around longer at this point. Like, I've had one or two Mario Party Madness games involving Some Call Me Johnny, who I think has been around longer. I actually don't remember off the top of my head. Claire, a.k.a. Proton John, I believe has also been around longer. Shay Frillis, I think, also has been around longer. I don't know if Daniel's been around longer. I think he probably has. Technically, Sam, Nintendo Fangirl, I think definitely has been around longer. But a bit of lore on this one. So Sam was actually originally going to be, I've mentioned this before, Sam was originally going to be the guest for the D-Pad's second episode of its podcast back in 2011. The lore bit to that's not the lore bit. The lore bit to that is because we at the time went to this, or not at the time, this was a few years after, but we went to the same college. Like, we knew each other through friends. Like, my best friend's wife is friends with, not that I'm not friends with her also, but was friends with her back in college. So it was just a weird bit of serendipity there. But I actually don't know if Sam has done Zeldathon before. And considering a bunch of folks, pulled me in on it for Super Zeldathon, I'm going to have to see if she hasn't done it before. I'm going to have to vouch for her. I don't think I'll have to vouch for her at all. I think it'll be a matter of going, hey, you should come do a thing, and then that'll be it. But we have since actually gotten to do stuff together, which has been fun. We were actually on a team for a Mario Party Madness game, which was cool. Now, Chugga is 2006 or older, oldest I know. That's fair, yeah. I don't think that I've done anything involving Chugga Conroy. I know that some of the folks that I interact with now are in the sphere of Kid Icarus. There's one or two that I'm not going to mention yet because I don't know how likely it is that this thing is going to happen. There was a financial element to this that kind of sprung up for an event that was going to happen. I forget if it was this year or last year, and then wound up not happening. But it wasn't a financial element for me. In fact, if anything, I was actively trying to discuss stuff with folks involved to see if I could assist on helping this happen. But there are some folks that I'm in ships passing in the night territory of very nearly being involved with for stuff that are legit on my bucket list of YouTubers to do stuff with. Though to be fair, there's not a lot of those left who are either active or have not gotten in some hot water. There's definitely folks that I a few years ago would have loved to hang with and do something with that nowadays I'm like, I'm good. I'm good, thank you. I think the ultimate one there's absolutely nothing as far as I'm aware that would have me involved in stuff with him, at least currently, but I would love to have an excuse to do something with Raocow. Raocow is probably the number one reason that the D-Pad exists as a YouTube channel, because at the time when we were getting ready to do the podcast in early 2011, I was watching Raocow on YouTube, and I was like, this shit looks like so much fucking fun. And there were other YouTube channels that I was watching, including gaming content channels, but Raocow was the one where I was like, this seems great. We gotta get in on this. I would love to do something with Raocow at some point. He's been on YouTube for 20 years. As an adult, I feel like I can't subscribe to new channels. I don't have time to enjoy new people, which is lame. I say this while having spent the last few years just drowning in Vine Sauce Joel. Yup. Wasn't new, but it's new to me, damn it. Yeah, I find I have a very hard time getting into gameplay channels, which is super ironic considering that's 90% of what we do. It is just a huge time investment, though. I have an easier time getting into, I guess, commentary channels. I still watch Red Letter Media pretty religiously, and I'll watch, Danny Gonzalez, Drew Gooden, Curtis Connor, Ted Nivison, Eddie Burback, Chad. I was watching Ryan Beard for a little while, but I kind of fell off on there. Not for any real reason. I just kind of stopped. There were others too. I watched Mooncat for a while. There was another one. Gabby. I want to say Gabby Hanna. I don't know if that's right, but yeah, Drew Gooden does not upload very often, but his videos are fucking always good. I did start watching Jacob Andrew Sharp, who is Curtis Connor's, just best friend from for a while now. He's got some good stuff. But yeah, that's the stuff that I tend to get into, both because it's generally like easy watching and there's just not a ton of it. But yes, I actually watched the Avatar one earlier today. Backlog of videos. Every time with the choice to backlog something, they have like Kirby Extra Epic Yarn playlist. I choose the latter. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I have not watched the Avatar show, but from what I've been seeing out of him, like, I don't think I'm missing too much. But yeah. All right. I hate to cut this off so abruptly, but I really do need to get upstairs and doing stuff. I actually need to download some stuff for tonight and this weekend as well. But thank you guys so much for hanging. It's so good to be back. Things are going to get back to normal. We don't have a Digimon night coming this week, this month, because I have the only Friday between now and the next Hangout that works. Actually, yeah, because the 14th, I actually have a Mario Party Madness game on a Friday that's kind of rare. And the 21st, I actually am going to a music festival nearby, so I won't be available for that. And then the 28th is when we're doing our next Hangout. So there will be that. We will hang out. I'll make sure that we're on time for that, and we'll hang out for that. There'll be a community night thing we'll figure out. One of the options for which is more just Patreon Hangout stuff. And I'm not going to be cutting, I don't have to like cut it off early to do anything else either. So yeah, I'm happy to hang, and I'm happy I was able to, make the Friday a little nicer, a little brighter. I don't know how much rest I will be getting this weekend, but I'm going to do my damnedest. I don't have anything to get up for. I might be up late, but I also don't have to get up early, so that might help with things. But yeah, Grand Champion Tournament video is going to go up as soon as I can possibly finish it, and we're extending the deadline by a week, so the 14th is when that's going to be ending, so you should have around 2 weeks, maybe a little bit under. When that one goes up, you'll have 2 weeks to get those in. After that, we'll be back to 3 weeks again. I promise you. September 11th, we're going to be watching Digimon Tamers. By then, the Blu-rays should be out and available and all of that stuff. I think I already pre-ordered mine. But I don't think it's going to be here by then. Let me just double check this real quick. Did I pre-order this? I did pre-order it, yeah. No news on that, but yeah, it is pre-ordered. It is going to be on its way. I assume it's going to be arriving sometime in August, but it literally comes out like right before what would have been Digimon Night anyway, so odds are that we wouldn't have gotten it in time. But we'll have it in time for September. We'll get into Digimon Tamers. September 18th, the final heat of the first round will be going live for the Grand Champion Tournament. We'll have our Patreon hangar for September on the 25th. And then on October 9th, we'll be getting to round 2 of the Grand Champion Tournament. We will finally be circling back around to those first ones we did, and the competition will be heating up. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I missed this a lot. I really did. So it's really nice to be getting back into this. And hopefully we can get everything spun up pretty quickly, and we'll be back to it. But I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later. Have a good one, and bye.